तव कथामृतम् तप्तजीवनम् कविभिरीडितम् कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततम् भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः.
Om Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Kaviviridhitam Kalmashāpaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadātatam Bhuigrananti Ye Bhuridājana. We are studying the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and yesterday we started the conversations of Saturday, May 23, 1885, chapter 41 at Ram's house, and in Bengali, just I'll tell you the page number. Yes. Page number is 833. Okay. Now, we read a little, and Thakur is telling, let us go back a little to catch the connection. Mahima, I have a question to ask, sir. A lover of God needs nirvana sometime or other, doesn't he? So that is a position that Bhakta, sometimes or the other, he must have nirvana, then only his life is fulfilled. That he wants to get confirmed or contradicted. Isn't it? Master, it can't be said that bhaktas need nirvana. Straight away, huh? According to some schools, there is an eternal Krishna and there are also his eternal devotees. So this type of dualism of intimate love does not end for some schools. Krishna is spirit embodied, and his abode also is spirit embodied. Abode means his nature, a living place. Krishna is eternal, and the devotees also are eternal, according to some school. Krishna and the devotees are like the moon and the stars, always near each other. Is it all the stars are near or some Rohini? Here it is. Nirvana jeche among kichu nai. Okay. Chandra jekhane tara guno sekhane. Okay. You yourself repeat, because Mahima used to like to repeat shlokas, and he has repeated those shlokas about bhakti. You yourself repeat what need is there of presence of God. Penance. What need is there of penance if God is seen within and without? Further, I have told you that the devotee who is born with an element of Vishnu, this is the most important thing. Some schools he said, but the very constitution of two people differ. Devotee who is born with an element of Vishnu cannot altogether get rid of bhakti. So a semblance of, you see, Vishnu is the protector or immanent God. And those who are like that immanent God, they do not like to transcend. That is the main thing. They do not want to transcend. They are happy with the immanent God. Once I fell into the clutches of a Nani, he is talking of Totapuri, who made me listen to Vedanta for 11 months. But he couldn't also. He couldn't altogether destroy the seed of bhakti in me. Thakur's nature is both Vishnu and Shiva. He fully realized. 11 months he was talking only of Nirguna, but he did not. So that is a unique or the ideal character. Shivansha don't want to Imana, they like transcendence. Vishnuansha only Imanas. But in Thakur, both are equally present. He started telling that they may not require nirvana. In Thakur's case, nirvana he has attained and yet bhakti is maintaining. That is a very special but model for all of us. If you can follow that, our life is really fulfilled. In the scriptures, in Ishopanishad, it is there. Sambhutim cha vinasham cha yattad veda ubhayam saha vinashena mrityum tirtva sambhutya amritam vishnute. You see, the shloka of 12, 13, 14 in Ishopanishad are supporting this view. No matter where my mind wandered, it would come back to the Divine Mother. So for him, God is Divine Mother, that relation. Whenever I sang of her, Nanta would weep and say, what is this? So Thakur, his personality is so strong that in that person who was only for transcendence, Thakur created that impression of bhakti. You see, he was such a great jnani and still he wept. To the younger Narayana and the others, remember the popular saying that if a man drinks the juice of alec creeper, a plant, if he drink the juice of alec creeper, a plant grows inside his stomach. So, meaning is, once the seed of bhakti is sown, the effect is inevitable. It will gradually grow into a tree with flowers and fruits. So, this is a passage wonderful for those who feel that Nirvana may be there, but I want bhakti, and Thakur has supported this beautifully in spite of, anyway. You may reason and argue 1,000 times, but if you have the seed of bhakti within you, you will surely come back to Hari. Hari is the name of Vishnu, immanent God. The devotees listen silently to the master. Sri Ramakrishna asked Mahima, laughing, what is the thing you enjoy most? So Thakur is asking this pointed question. You asked about Nirvana. So what do you like most? Mahima, smiling. Nothing, sir. I like mangoes. Nothing, sir, means I am not emphasizing transcendence or immanence. I want the nature of God. That is Mahima's reply. Master, smiling. All by yourself, or do you want to share them with others? Sir, that is a higher step, as we say in Thakur. Mahima, smiling. I am not so anxious to give others a share. I may as well eat them all by myself. So, Mahima seems to be of a Jiva Koti. He wants both transcendence, immanence for himself. He is not inclination for sharing. Master, but do you know my attitude? So, Thakur chose the ideal or the real attitude or the attitude of an incarnation. I accept both the Nitya and the Leela. Doesn't God exist if one looks around with eyes open? After realizing Him, one knows that He is both the Absolute and the universe. So this is the full knowledge. Whether you emphasize this or that is your emphasis. But the actual full knowledge is that God is transcendent, immanent reality. And you come to that immanence after transcendence. It is He who is the indivisible Satchidananda. Again, it is He who has become the universe and its living beings. So, universe means nature and the living beings. He has become, He is the Absolute also. Simultaneously, Nirgun and Sagun are one simultaneously. That is the real nature of reality. Full, complete, real nature. One needs sadhana. Mere study of the scriptures will not do. That is a hint at Mahima. I noticed that though Vidyasagar had no doubt read a great deal, he had not realized what was inside him. He was satisfied with helping boys get their education, but had not tasted the bliss of God. What will mere study accomplish? So he appreciates Vidyasagar, but is very critical of him for his no inclination towards spiritual realization. He may be great in the world, but without spiritual attitude, spiritual struggle, spiritual realization, man does not become really great according to Sri Ramakrishna. What will mere study accomplish? How little one assimilates. So, assimilating is not through the intellect. Assimilation is through the heart. Assimilation is through experience. The almanac may forecast 20 measures of rain, but you don't get a drop by squeezing its pages. That is Thakur's patent example. Mahima, who has so many duties in the world now, he comes to his own level. He talked big, but now he comes to his own level. Where is the time for sadhana? Master, why should you say such a thing? It is you who describe the world as illusory, like a dream, and you are taking away so many duties. So this does not go correctly with the Vedanta. Aha, beautiful conversation is going on. Rama and Lakshmana wanted to go to Ceylon, but the ocean was before them. Lakshmana was angry. Taking his bow and arrow, he said, I shall kill Varuna. Varuna is the god of ocean. This ocean prevents our going to Ceylon. Ceylon, you understand what is that? Could have been better translated Sri Lanka, as the name is today. Because Ceylon, what has to do with Rama and Lakshmana? Lanka is the Chennai in Bengali, Lanka. Please, at that time it was called Ceylon during Nikhil translation time. But the old name is Sri Lanka, now again it is Sri Lanka. And the reference, connection is Sri Lanka. Rama had no idea that it is called Ceylon. Rama went to Sri Lanka, wanted to go to Sri Lanka. The ocean prevents us our going to Lanka. Rama explained the matter to him, saying, Lakshmana, all that you are seeing is unreal. Unreal. Your anger is also unreal. It is equally unreal to think of destroying one unreal thing by means of another. This must be from Adhyatma Ramayana. So, this is directed to Mahima Charan, that you call dream and unreal, and you say you have duties. Mahima Charan kept quiet. He had many duties in the world. He had lately started a school to help others, so that Ishwar Chandra's example also given. Master to Mahima, Shambhu once said to me, Shambhu Chandra Malikas Thakur's Rasadar, great devotee. But at that time he had this idea and Thakur had corrected him. Shambhu once said to me, I have some money. It is my desire to spend it for good work, for schools and dispensaries, roads and so forth. I said to him, it will be good if you can do these work in a selfless spirit. So work is good only when done in selfless spirit, unattached. It will lead to purification and knowledge. Not work cannot be the goal of life. But it is extremely difficult to perform unselfish action. Desire for fruit comes from nobody knows where. This is very important thing in practical life. We may start some work unselfishly. We may start some work without thinking of the results. But once you start the work, the expectations come. Expectations come, and that is traps us. That is what is to be given up. But it is extremely difficult to perform unselfish action. Desire for fruit comes from nobody knows where. Some fruit. Let me ask you something. Suppose God appears before you, will you pray to him then for such things as schools and dispensaries and hospitals? So that Mahimacharan is silenced. But some other devotee, a devotee, sir, what is the way for worldly people? We are in the world. Is there no way for us to come out? Is there no way for us to realize God? Whether transcendent, immanent, we don't bother. We want God. So is it possible for us? Master, the company of holy men. So everywhere he has told this. The devotees must get vairagya. And that impression of vairagya comes from sannyasis. So you must seek their company to change the mental attitude. The question is not whether you are in the world or not. Your mental attitude has to change. And that will come only by the company of holy men. Worldly people should listen to spiritual talk, another thing. Worldly people. But we should listen to spiritual talk to understand the ideal of life, to understand where will the life get fulfilled, not by living in the world. You are living and dying and living and dying. The fulfillment will come only by spiritual enlightenment. So you must listen to spiritual talks. They are in a state of madness, worldly people, intoxicated with woman and gold. That is what makes them worldly. A drunkard should be given rice water as an antidote. Drinking it slowly, he gradually recovers his normal consciousness. So this is an example. Slowly, rice water. That means spiritual talk. Slowly, slowly it will impress and your worldliness, intoxication will go. Thakur's very practical, but not saying everything all right, everything all right. That is not the correct attitude. A worldly person should also receive instruction from a Sadguru. So, worldly person can realize God provided 1, 2, 3. 1, Hari company. Second, listening to spiritual instructions. Third, a worldly person should also receive instructions from a Sadguru. So, from a not only spiritual talks, but this generally means the mantra or the direct instruction, not general spiritual instruction. For that, you require a Sadguru, a man of realization, a real teacher. Such a teacher has certain signs, so you should see that he has certain signs. Everything practical, spiritual life for householders. You should hear about Banaras only from a man who has been to Banaras. Aha. One should not receive instruction from a Pandit who has not realized the world to be unreal. Scholar won't do. Only if a Pandit has the discrimination and renunciation is he entitled to instruct. Samadai remarked, a fool of a Pandit. Samadai remarked that God was dry. Think of his speaking like that, of him who is the embodiment of sweetness. It sounds like the remark, my uncle's cowshed is full of horses. Allah. Yes, a worldly person is in a state of intoxication. He always says to himself, it is I who am doing everything. That is the worldly people. All these, the house and family are mine. I and mine. Baring his teeth, he says, that means proudly. What will happen to my wife and children without me? Baring his teeth means shamelessly. How will they get along? Who will look after my wife and children? Rakal said one day, what will happen to my wife? Though Thakur is giving Rakal's example. Because Rakal came out as a sadhu. But at one point, he was feeling attached to his wife and he asked Thakur, what will happen to my wife? So he's giving that Rakal's example. Who became a sannyasi later on. Harman. Did Rakal say that? Harman was surprised. Master, what else could he do? He who has knowledge has ignorance also. Till he realizes transcendent immanent reality, he has gone beyond. Knowledge means I know, and I know is never knowledge, it is ignorance. So knowledge and ignorance goes together, this knowledge. How amazing! Lakshmana said to Rama, even a sage like Vashishta is stricken with grief because of the death of his sons. Brother, replied Rama, he who has knowledge has ignorance also. Though Vashishta was Rama's teacher, but Rama's knowledge is Swayambhu already. Therefore, go beyond both knowledge and ignorance. That means transcendence. I have realized God. It itself contains ignorance. When I is gone, then that is full knowledge. That is called beyond relative knowledge and ignorance. Suppose a thorn has pierced a man's foot, he picks another thorn to pull out the first one. After extracting the first thorn with the help of the second, he throws both away. So this Aham Brahmasmi is the way to go out, but Aham Brahmasmi is not a thing to retain in the mind. It has to be thrown away. These things are absolute knowledge. The half-cooked Vedantis or Bhaktas do not know this. And they impudently criticize Thakur or Ramakrishna Mission even. Then one throws away both the thorns, knowledge and ignorance, both the thorns, knowledge and ignorance, and attains Vijnana. So that is Thakur's term. Vijnana means intimate experience of the transcendent immanent reality. Transcendent, immanent, intimate relation. That is Vijnana. And I would say that is the full realization, real realization. So here the name has come, Vijnana. What is Vijnana? It is to know God distinctly by realizing His existence through an intuitive experience and to speak to Him intimately. Two things. Intuitive experience means aparokshanubhava. You have to gain that, but also remain in intimate relation with Him. That is the ideal Thakur wants to preach everywhere. For everyone. That is why Sri Krishna said to Arjuna, go beyond the three gunas, Sattva, Rajatama, but God is Trigunati. Go beyond them. And beautifully in the Gita, Krishna says, what is the sign of a man gone beyond three gunas? He neither hates nor welcomes any of the gunas. He is not strict to Sattva guna or any guna. Let them come and let them go. He is beyond them. Such a man, Krishna declares, Sarge pinopajayante pralayana vetanti cha. They are not born with the creation. They are not worried about the dissolution. In order to attain Vijnana, one has to accept the help of Vidyamaya. Vidyamaya includes discrimination, that is to say, God is real and the world is illusory. So, in order to attain Vijnana, one must start transcending first through discrimination that God alone is real, world is unreal. So, attain God and then see that God is everywhere and then get an intimate relation with Him. This is Thakur's idea and this applies to everybody. And dispassion also is required. Discrimination, if it is the process of buddhi, dispassion is the process of heart, the feeling corresponding to discrimination. And dispassion. And also chanting God's name and glories. So it should be backed up by bhakti. Meditation, the company of holy persons. Meditation means intensely concentrated on the nature of God with a relationship. The company of holy persons. Prayer, and so forth. That means all these things are taken together, and then only finally you will get Vijnana. Vidyamaya may be likened to the last few steps before the roof. That means corresponding to the nature of the roof, but still not yet roof. That is Vidyamaya. Next is the roof, the realization of God. Worldly people are in a state of chronic intoxication of a different type, mad with woman and gold. So the point of worldly people is the attraction for sex, attraction for greed, or attraction for enjoyment of objects, and attraction for money. They are insensible to spiritual ideas, but the insensible to spiritual ideas. That is why I love the youngsters not yet stained by woman and gold. So his ideals are those boys. They are good receptacles and may become useful in God's work. So that is their value. They become God's instruments. They can realize Him in full, both transcendence and immanence. It is not like the dry so-called Vedanti sadhus. But as for worldly people, you lose almost everything while trying to eliminate the worthless stuff in them. So they contain much more worthless stuff, and to remove that, a lot of energy is spent. They are like bony fish, almost all bones and very little meat. Thakur has examples for everything. And in Bengal, the example of fish is very easy to assimilate. Worldly people are like mangoes struck by hail. If you want to offer them to God, you have to purify them by sprinkling them with Ganges water. Even then, they are seldom used in the temple worship. If you are to use them at all, you have to apply Brahmajnana. That is to say, you have to persuade yourself that it is God alone who has become everything. So, Thakur has given solutions for everything. Normal, abnormal, extra normal. A theosophic gentleman arrived with Thakur's conversation is over. Master is telling a theosophic gentleman arrived with Ashwini Kumar Datta. Ashwini Kumar Datta was a great philosopher, sadhak, and he has written about Thakur beautifully, that we'll see at the end. And the son of Behari Bhaduri. So there is another devotee, Behari Bhaduri, with them. A theosophic gentleman arrived. The Mukherjee brothers entered the room and saluted Sri Ramakrishna. Arrangements were being made for devotional music in the courtyard. At the first beat of the drum, the master left the room and went there. The devotees followed him. Bhavanath introduced Ashwini to the master. Ashwini himself was not known. The master introduced him to M. Ashwini and M were talking together when Narendra arrived. Sri Ramakrishna said to Ashwini, "This is Narendra." So up to that only it is stated that day what happened. Saturday, June 13, 1885. So from May 23, we have jumped to June 13. I think all this is going on 2 weeks afterwards. About 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Sri Ramakrishna was resting in his room. So the heading of the chapter is Ram's house, but here we find in his own room after midday meal. A Pandit was sitting on a mat on the floor. Near the north door of the room stood a Brahmin woman who had recently lost her only daughter and was stricken with grief, Yogin perhaps. One of them, Golapma Yogin. Kishori too was in the room. M arrived and saluted the master. He was accompanied by Dvija and few other devotees. We have known all of them now. Sri Ramakrishna was not well. He had been suffering from an inflamed throat. These were the hot days of summer. M was not keeping well either, and of late he had not been able to visit Sri Ramakrishna frequently. That is why we thought why it is so late, and he is like this. Master to him, how are you? It is nice to see you. The bell fruit you sent me was very good. So everything good he remembers. He wants to see him. I am slightly better now, sir. Master, it is very hot. Take a little ice now and then. I have been feeling the heat very much myself. So I ate a great deal of ice cream. That is why I have this sore throat. The saliva smells very bad. I have said to the Divine Mother, Mother, make me well. I shall not eat ice cream anymore. Next, I said to her that I wouldn't eat ice either. Since I have given my word to Mother, I shall certainly not eat these things. But sometimes I become forgetful. Once I said that I wouldn't eat fish on Sundays, but one Sunday I forgot and ate fish. But I cannot consciously go back on my word. Forgetfulness is another. Consciously I cannot go back on my word. Beautiful explanation of truthfulness. The other day I asked a devotee to bring my water jug to the pine grove. As he had to go elsewhere, another man brought the jug, but I couldn't use that water. I was helpless. I waited there until the first man brought water for me. So that is his steadfastness to truth, consciously. Ideal is ideal. Ideal is ideal everywhere. You have to follow where the followers. When I renounced everything with an offering of flowers at the lotus feet of the Mother, I said, Here, Mother, take thy holiness, take thy unholiness. Here, Mother, take thy dharma, take thy adharma. Here, Mother, take thy sin, take thy virtue. Here, Mother, take thy good, take thy evil, and give me only pure bhakti. But I could not say, Here, Mother, take thy truth and take the falsehood. So we have to understand. Give up this. That means I, the doer, is given up. It does not mean do bad. So the bad is repeated. I don't want good, I don't want bad, but I want pure love for you. But that is one point. Second point is you could not say take truth and truth. They also appear to be the opposite force. But if you give up truth, all this giving up will have no value. I will tell you a story. I think I might have told you. One boy wanted to marry a girl. So he went to the girl's father. And girl's father is checking upon the character of the boy. So he's asking him, do you smoke? No. Do you drink? No. Do you do this? No. Do you do this? No. Then the father was surprised and said, you have no vice then? He said, I have. I do speak lies now and then. So all that he has spoken up till now can be lies. Everything gone. So Thakur could not say, I give up my truth. Understood? Thakur's precise spirituality speaks here. I give up this does not mean I give up the opposite. I hold on to the opposite. Both are given. I have given myself. But truth cannot be given up. It is higher than I, you, and everything. A devotee had brought some ice. Again and again the master asked him, "Shall I eat it?" M said humbly, "Please don't eat it without consulting the mother." You said that consciously I do not eat. But here the question is, previously that boy knew and he has brought ice. So he's asking him. M says, "Ask the mother." Sri Ramakrishna could not take the ice. Master, it is the bhakta and not the jnani who discriminates between holiness and unholiness. For jnani, he transcends both. Bhakta wants this and that. Vijay's mother-in-law said to me, "How little, Vijay, Krishna Goswami, how little I have achieved of my spiritual ideal. I cannot take food from everybody." I said to her, "Is eating everybody's food a sign of jnana?" A dog eats everything and anything and everything. Does that make it a jnani? So that is not the only sign. How clear are the instructions? Should read the whole gospel carefully, again and again, assimilate every side of truth, every side of things helpful to spiritual life. 2M. The imitation, the hypocrisy, all removed. 2M. Why do I eat a variety of dishes? In order not to become monotonous. That is the point. Monotonous he does not want to become in spiritual life also. So in everything of life. Otherwise, I should have to renounce the devotees, becoming jnani monotonous. I said to Keshav, if I instruct you from a still higher standpoint, then you won't be able to preserve your organization. In the state of jnana, organizations and things like that become unreal like a dream. So Thakur is not jnani, but he has combined jnana with bhakti for the good of the world. One time I gave a fish. At first I suffered from it. Afterwards it didn't bother me much. If someone burns up a bird's nest, the bird flies about. It takes shelter in the sky. If a man truly realizes that the body and the world are unreal, then his soul attains samadhi. Understood? Okay. So first sentence says, by practice, you can stick to spirituality. Second says that you have burned the bird's nest. It tries there, but then it flies away. So, if a man truly realizes that body and the world are unreal, then his soul attains samadhi, goes up beyond. This is the simile with the bird. Formerly, at the state of mind of a jnani, I couldn't enjoy the company of men. I would hear that a jnani or a bhakta lived at a certain place, then a few days later I would learn that he was dead. Everything seemed to me impermanent, so I couldn't enjoy people's company. Later the mother brought my mind down to a lower plane. She so changed my mind that I could enjoy love of God and His devotees. So, because His purpose of life as His incarnation is for the world, so mother, that means His own real nature, brought it down. Down means immanent God. That's all. So, what in Thakur's life we have not to imitate also, he is telling, what you have to follow also is. Next, the master began to talk about divine incarnation. So, automatically, this subject has come there. Master to M. Do you know why God incarnates himself as a man? It is because through a human body, one can hear his words. He sports through it. He tastes divine bliss through a human body. But through his other devotees, God manifests only a small part of himself. A devotee is like something you get a little juice from after much sucking. Like a flower, you get a drop of honey from after much sucking. Do you understand this? So Bhakta also as God, incarnation also as God, but Bhakta, little you can get power from incarnation, the full blessings of God. That is the difference. And he wants, he is asking Master Masha whether he has understood. M. Yes, sir, very well. Sri Ramakrishna began to talk to Dvija, who was about 16 years old. His father had married a second time. Dvija often accompanied M to Dakshineshwar, and Sri Ramakrishna was fond of him. The boy said that his father opposed his coming to Dakshineshwar. Master, and your brothers too? Do they speak slightingly of me? Dvija did not answer, because it may be a mixed quantity. M. To the master. Those who speak slightingly of you will be cured after cured of it after getting a few more blows from the word. Sometimes to get spiritual awakening and understanding requires blows from the word. Then only you know world is unreal. Then only you know you cannot have happiness in the world. Happiness lies only with God. Then only you appreciate spirituality practically. All were silent a moment. This is a moment of introspection. Master to him. Introduce Dvija to Purna sometime. They will become friends. M. Yes, I shall. To Dvija. Go to Panihati. Master. Panihati, the Vaishnavas have a big festival. And Sri Ramakrishna went there 2, 3 times. And going there, the spirit of bhakti may come to the person who has gone. Master, I am asking everyone to send people to Paniyati, to him. Won't you go? Sri Ramakrishna intended to visit the religious festival at Paniyati. So he was asking the devotees to go too. That would be the last visit. After that, the throat trouble will be aggravated. Yes, sir, I want to go. Master, we shall engage a big boat, then it won't toss about. Will Girish Ghosh be there? Sri Ramakrishna looked steadily at Dvija. I think Girish Ghosh was not in that party that day. Sri Ramakrishna looked intently at Dvija, trying to find out the inner sanskaras. Master, Well, there are so many youngsters in the city. Why does this boy come here? To him. Tell me, what do you think? Certainly, he has inherited some good tendencies from his previous birth, not from the parents, from his previous birth. M. Undoubtedly, sir. Master. There is such a thing as inborn tendencies. When a man has performed many good actions in his previous birth, in the final birth, he becomes guileless. In the final birth, he acts somewhat like a madcap, intoxicated with God and guileless. So these are the virtues which tell us whether the man is fit for moksha. To tell you the truth, everything happens by God's will. When he says yes, everything comes to pass, and when he says no, everything comes to a standstill. So he has told everything analytically, but finally he says God's will, yes or no. That one should understand. Why is it that one man should not bless another, one man should not bless another? Because nothing can happen by man's will. Things come to pass or disappear by God's will. It is very common to give blessings, but that may not come about. Why is it that one man should not? The other day I went to captain's house, Vishwanath Upadhyaya. I saw some young boys going along the road. They belong to a different class. I saw one of them about 19 or 20 years old with his hair parted on the side. He was whistling as he walked along. So different class means worldly. Boys, Thakur expect them to be pure, but some boys are already become worldly. I see some immersed in the thickest tamas. They play the flute and are proud of it. To Dvija, why should a man of knowledge be afraid of criticism? His understanding is as immovable as the anvil in a blacksmith shop. Blows from the hammer fall continually on the anvil, but cannot affect it in the least. So Thakur is instructing Dvija like this because Dvija said his parents do not like it. So Thakur's instruction is that you have to act spiritually in spite of your parents' criticism. I saw excess father going along the street. He is a very artless man. So the name is not given. But Master Masha knows it. Master. But he has red eyes. So not good sign. Sri Ramakrishna told the devotees about his visit to Captain's house. Captain had criticized the young man who visited the master. Perhaps Hazara had poisoned his mind. Hazara continuously criticized the young boys. And perhaps he has told the captain about it. Master, I was talking to captain. I said, nothing exists except Purusha and Prakriti. Narada said to Rama, O Rama, all the men you see are parts of yourself and all the women are parts of Sita. Captain was highly pleased. He said, you alone have the right perception. All men are really Rama. Being parts of Rama, all women are really Sita being parts of Sita. Immediately after saying this, he began to criticize the young devotees. He said, they study English books and don't discriminate about their food. So, external observation, it is not good that they should visit you frequently. It may do you harm. He does not know that he is incarnation. Hazara is a real man, a grand fellow. So even captain did not have the proper inner understanding of a man's character. And that's why he said Hazara might have poisoned them. Don't allow those young men to visit you so much. At first I said, what can I do if they come? Then I gave him some mortal blows. His daughter laughed. I said to him, God is far, far away from the worldly minded. But God is very near the man, nay, within a distance of 3 cubits, whose mind is free from worldliness. Speaking of Rakhal, captain said, he eats with all sorts of people. Perhaps he has heard it from Hazra. Thereupon I said to him, a man may practice intense austerity and japa, but he won't achieve anything if his mind dwells on the world. But blessed is the man who keeps his mind on God even though he eats pork. He will certainly realize God in due time. Clear, clear statement. So many people criticize for eating meat. Swamiji has replied that if God is obstructed by a pound of flesh, I don't want such a God. And the reason, do all the Christians, Muslims, Tantrikas, old people, have they all gone to hell? In the Vedas, clear symptoms of man eating even beef are there. In Ramayana, Ram and Lakshmana are clearly eating deer's flesh. He will certainly realize God in due time. Hazra, with all his austerity and japa, doesn't allow an opportunity to slip by for earning money as a broker. So, don't take Hazra seriously. He has worldliness along with some spirituality. Yes, yes, said Captain, you are right. I said to him further, a few minutes ago, you said that all men were parts of Ramayana, all women parts of Sita, and now you are talking like this, criticizing the young boys. Captain said, yes, that's true, but you don't love everybody, so you also discriminate. I said, according to the scriptures, what is God? So, distinction is there, but based on spirituality, not upon all external observances. How clear, how clear. I think we should meditate on each sentence, note in our notebook, note in our heart, follow them. I said, according to the scriptures, water is God. We see water everywhere, but some water we drink, some we bathe in, and some we use for washing dirty things. Here sit your wife and daughter. I see them as embodiments of the Blessed Mother. Thereupon Captain said, yes, yes, that's true. He wanted to apologize by touching my feet. After speaking thus, Sri Ramakrishna laughed. Then he began to tell of Captain's many virtues. So he don't want to criticize Captain. That is Thakur's greatness. He told of his limitations. He told how he has taken from. That is a character. Master, Captain has many virtues. Every day he attends to his devotions. He himself performs the worship of the family deity. How many mantras he recites while bathing the image. He is a great ritualist. He performs his daily devotions such as worship, japa, arati, recital of the scriptures, and chanting of hymns. So according to his state of the mind is behaving very correctly. I scolded Captain and said, too much reading has spoiled you. Don't read anymore. About my own spiritual state, Captain said, your soul like a bird is ready to fly. There are two entities, Jivatma, the embodied soul, and I think we'll have to stop here. Paramatma, the supreme soul. The embodied soul is the bird. So I think at this point we shift to Monday. Om Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibiridhitam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadatam Bhui Grunanti Ye Bhurida Jana Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.